Hi, this is the initial post for domain 1D, E, and F, planning and preparation. So there are three characteristics that I found all teachers need to be effective at planning and preparing coherent instruction. They should have a deep knowledge of their content. They should be able to connect their curriculum, instruction, and assessment to the standards using the resources that they have. And they should willingly develop relationships with their students and community members in order to better understand what strategies are needed for their students to be able to achieve. There will be times when we have teachers in our buildings who don't have all three of these. They may have one, they may have two of these characteristics, but they may not have three. As a building leader, it will be our responsibility to guide our teachers and provide mentors for our teachers who are lacking in one or two of these areas or three. As leaders, it's very important that we are so in tune to what's going on in our classrooms that we can easily identify the needs and the struggles of our teachers, and that we can find out what is needed to help them before there's a loss of student engagement, and definitely before a teacher just walks out in desperation because they are stuck or struggling or don't see the success of their students. These are all involved in the planning and preparation work that a teacher does to see growth in their students. So 1D is demonstrating a knowledge of resources. Teachers have multitudes of resources at their disposal, but a key element is that they are continually researching and reviewing these resources that will, making sure that they will help with achievement. They need to look at the data for the resources and make sure that the data shows that the resources connect to the students that they teach, the type of students that they teach, looking at the demographics and the level of the students in their classroom. Effective teachers have evidence of resource knowledge in their planning and explanation of their expected outcomes in the classroom, and that's evident to their administrators. 1E, designing coherent instruction. In designing coherent instruction begins with knowledge of the content. Teachers who build on their knowledge of content and students to select activities and types of instruction that engage students in rigorous activities. That causes them to think critically, solve problems, choose creative ways of showing initiative, and they can prove that they can use the knowledge that they've gained. Evaluators should be able to walk into a classroom and see the teacher's ability to look at the big picture from start to finish, not just at one lesson, but a unit with understanding of the expected outcomes for every student in the classroom. In the Designing Purposeful Instruction video, students were actively involved in collaboration. The teacher planned what she expected the students to complete in groups and independently to meet the standard, and the instruction was organized, and students knew what they were required to do. In 1F, designing students' assessments. When planning, student assessments should be a part of the plan. The teacher should think about how she is going to assess them up front, and a description of how these assessments are going to be used by the teacher and how the students will receive the feedback should be included in the plan. It's important that students understand what they will be assessed over, and they shouldn't be surprised by what's on the test or what is included in the assessment. Rubrics are good if you can use a rubric, but there just should not be a shock. I've actually seen teachers want the shock value when the students are looking at the test, and that's terrible idea. All students were given time to connect to the learning in the class, and then they should be given the opportunity to think critically and move ahead. Using a variety of styles of assessments, not always the same thing over and over again, and allowing students to choose an option based on their learning style is important. That differentiation is important for all students to be able to achieve. The teacher who asked the students for the Twitter-style exit slip was challenging the students to think about what they learned and answer a question, and that answer was to summarize what they learned, but it had to be something that the teacher could just have a quick glance to see if the students were actually processing information. She didn't downplay the assessment at all. You know, oh, this is just a short thing. Instead, she said, "Are you ready?" And she did it with excitement. And she talked to them about it being a tweet with just 140 characters. And so, you know, it engaged the students and they were interested. I would say, you know, this is a great type of assessment. But any type of assessment that you choose, you don't want to use the same thing over and over and over again because it becomes redundant and students, you know, they lose interest.